What is up, guys? It is Sam, the Raid Man. We're back with yet another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we're going to be doing another top 10 video, but this is kind of the bottom 10 if you think about it, because it is the top 10 worst / top 10 that need a buff the most of the Void Legendaries in the game. So inside the game we have common, uncommon, rare, epic, legendary, and now mythical, but for the longest time Void Legendaries were the highest tier of any champion in the game. They're just some of the most difficult to get because you cannot get them from ancients or primals. You can only get them from void shards, and at best you might have a 1% chance on a 2x event to get a Void Legendary. They're hard to get. It is very difficult to get a specific one, much to my chagrin, but I want to talk about the top 10 worst ones, or the bottom 10, depending how you want to label it, of all the different Void Legendaries. So these are the ones I have. You can see I do have a lot. I've been playing for a while, earned some of these, bought some of these, a lot of clan boss shards here. So I have a few of the ones that I consider some of the worst, or some of the ones that need a buff, but we're mostly just going to talk about them from the index standpoint. If you want an amazing start in Raid Shadow Legends, make sure to use the link in the description of this video to get a free Arnorn, Supreme Gaelic, and 3 epic champions as you level up throughout the game. I have 4 simple steps for you. Step 1, log out of Play and Play on your computer and uninstall it. If you are also on a mobile phone, you've never had Raid installed, it will work on the mobile phone as well. Step 2, click on the link in the description of this video and register to Plarium with a brand new email. Step 3, log into Raid and complete the tutorial. Step 4, go to your inbox and collect your first free legendary champion, which should be Arnorn. Then use the promo code Supreme6 to get your Void Legendary Supreme Gaelic. You also get your 3 epics as you level up through the game. Make sure to use this link if you want a great start in Raid. So I have 10 with 1 honorable mention. Now, just to clarify something real quick before you guys come for me, most of these are not bad champions, but Void Legendary is like a very high standard. And so of the pool of like 80 Void Legendaries, or however many there are, these are, in my opinion, the worst 10. So no particular order. Number 1 I have, or not number 1, number 0 I have an honorable mention, and he could be in the list. I just don't know who I would take out. It's a Void Legendary I have. It's Supreme Kale, the best starter champion, and I have him, and I was excited to pull him. I actually have all the legendary starters now. My one was a fusion, one was a promo code, and I've earned the other, or pulled the other 2. He's got all AoEs, AoE weaken on the A1, AoE 3 poisons, and then increases the duration of all enemy debuffs. If they turned this into also increasing the duration of all ally buffs, I would use him in my clan boss team. AoE increase accuracy, decrease defense, or decrease resistance, and then fills the champion's turn meter by 10% for each decreased resistance placed by this skill. And passive, decrease each target's accuracy, crit rate, and crit damage for each poison on them. His kit sounds good on paper. I just cannot find a team to put him in. Like, I've used him in like Centrenos, but I cannot find a team where this guy makes sense. Poison is not good in Hydra. Decrease resistance is okay in Hydra, but crit rate and crit damage we don't really care about. That's like an arena thing, but it's like how many poisons you actually, like if we place these 3 poisons, we could get lower everyone in the arena by 9% accuracy, crit rate, and crit damage. That's it. That's not like a debuff. Like a decreased crit rate would just be much better. I don't know. So let me know. He's an honorable mention. Just let me know where you would use Supreme Kale. So first up, I feel very strongly about this one. He might be the worst Void Legendary in the game. Let me get that red dot out of the way. From the Shadowkin faction, talked about him in a recent video. I have Genro the Stork. Honestly, he looks very cool, but he's just not good. Can reduce a cooldown of a random skill by 2 turns. Stun for 2 turns is the best part of his kit. Will ignore block debuffs and block damage. Increase defense and counterattack over himself. Very selfish. Increases champion's defense every time they counterattack, but it resets every time they take a turn. If it fully stacked, that would be a little bit better. Their resistance turns into accuracy, so if you build them with resistance, you don't need accuracy. And then places provoke on all enemies under increase attack. Again, my issue with that, if it was decrease attack, you could control that. If it's increase attack, that's random and weird, inconsistent, and almost irrelevant. So he is, to me, the worst Void Legendary. The rest of this has really no order. That was just the first one that came to mind. This is one that, again, maybe I could be argued, so my opinion could be swayed. I have Angar. I don't have him, and I know he got buffed. I still don't see him ever used anywhere. And again, maybe Supreme Kale's in and Angar's out. I'm not 100%. I'm not as passionate about this one as I am about Genro or some of the other ones. Attacks one enemy 2 times, places an extra hit if the enemy has a provoke. He's an HP-based champion. AoE provoke, 75% chance of placing it for 2 turns. Reflect damage damage on all allies, and counterattack on himself for 2 turns. That's on a 3-turn cooldown, so it's a very, very good provoking ability. If an enemy with provoke attacks his champion, 40% chance, books to 50 of placing with another provoke. Also 100% chance when booked of placing decreased attack whenever an enemy under a provoke attacks an ally, but it's only for 1 turn. Each hit taken will reduce damage taken by 5% up to 30% in 1 round. So like, that's a good passive, I guess, but it's just for himself. And he's like already got reflect damage and counterattack, and it's like he's HP based. Like, I'm not super worried about how squishy he is. It's like I'm sure he's the best provoker in the game, or maybe up in that conversation. I just don't know where you use him, you know? Maybe Hydra. He's got that slot locked down basically. Like I said, I don't feel as strong on that one. This one I do feel pretty strong about because I not only have this champion, but I also just got a 5-star soul for this champion, and I'm clearly looking on the wrong faction. Let me think for a second. I don't want to have to cheat. Nice. Dark Elf, Fatalis, Blade Master, gigantic sword here. Part of the Monster Hunter collection. Attacks one enemy, ignores 15% of the target's defense if this attack is critical. He's at damage 0, so you would want that. Also 20% chance of granting an extra turn. It's honestly a good A1, but he's HP based. He just does not hit hard enough. Attacks one enemy, will ignore Strengthen, Stone Skin, increase defense and ally protection. Also 15% defense. Decrease the target's attack by 10% up to 30. That's weird, but it's a good ability, just does not hit hard enough. AoE, ignore, same thing. All of his abilities ignore 15% if they're critical. Decrease the target's defense by 5 up to 30. Again, kind of cool, but where are you using that in like a longer fight? Attacks one enemy, will ignore 50% target's defense. Fills his champion's stamina by 50% if this attack is critical, which it should be because he's void and he has should have 100% crit rate, so you should always be critical. Damage inflicted by a skill cannot be decreased by enemy passive skills or increased by other passive skills or masteries. Secret skill only becomes available when any 3 of the champion skills were used in a round. It's like, yes, this one hits hard, but you have to use A1, A2, A3. Then you can do this ability. He's all, I don't know, it's not hit hard enough. Place a shield on himself, equal to 25% for at the end of their turn for 2 turns. Cannot receive critical hits when placed under a shield buff placed by his champion. So you can keep him alive. Like, his kit is cool. He does not hit hard enough. And honestly, I might make a video about him and try and prove myself and the other doubters wrong, because I do have, like I said, this 5-star soul. Yeah, 5-star soul. So I might try and build him out. I don't think he's booked. Let's find him. No, he's not booked, and I'm not going to book him. But I guess we can ascend him to 6 and put a soul on him. Don't know if it would be better use for me to just sell that soul, but we're going to do it. We're going to test out Fatalis, Blade Master, and maybe I will take my words back. Maybe I'll put my foot in my mouth, but I highly doubt it because I think he's just not good enough. Next up is, sadly, another one of the Supremes, and it is Supreme Athal. Another champion I thought would be fun, and she's just not good. Attacks one enemy. If their enemies under freeze, also attacks them. That's kind of cool. Decreases champion enemies attack by 3%, stacks up to 30%, but you have to hit someone 10 times. Also increases her own attack by 3%. After using it 10 times, she'll decrease the enemy's attack by 30 and her own attack by 30. That's just not that much, but that is cool. I like that as an A1 as an idea. AoE, before attacking, has a chance of placing freeze. Will ignore strength and ally protection and unkillable, as well as 20% of target's defense on enemies under freeze. Places increased attack, increased crit rate, shield, and accuracy, increased accuracy on this champion, then grants an extra turn. 15% chance of placing a freeze debuff on attackers for 1 turn when hit under the shield. 35% chance of placing freeze on enemies for 1 turn whenever a shield is removed by damage. So, like, she can do control, she can kind of do damage, but it doesn't seem like she can do either very well. Biggest issue for her with like freezing and stuff like that is Stone Skin, block debuffs, intercept. Like, there's just more ways, and obviously polymorph. Like, there's just so many ways to counter that, and then her damage is kind of based on like how much freeze they have, and I don't feel like she does either role well enough. She's not bad. I should probably give her more of a fair shake, but I'm not impressed with her. Another one is another champion that's been buffed. They have tried to buff a lot of these champions, but a lot of times I don't think they do enough for fear of making them broken. Whirlwind Frost King, who looks amazing. For how long he's been in the game, he looks so good. It's like the Lich King from World of Warcraft. Attacks one enemy, places freeze. AoE, decrease attack, decrease accuracy, increase crit damage on all allies. Strength and increased defense, and then chance of freezing on all turns, but 60%. That can't be resisted, and it's nice that none of his debuffs can be resisted. That was part of his buff. So maybe he's better now. I don't like a 60% chance of placing freeze. 30 boosts to 50 on the A1. So I don't know. Let me know if you guys use Whirlwind somewhere. We are in the last 5. That was our first 5 plus our honorable mention. This is a champion that's okay in one area, but that's really it. And it's Ursuga. She's a good protector, but she's really not, like, I'd rather a protector who revives than just a protector who soaks up damage. It's really almost all about her passive. Decrease damage all allies receive from critical hits by 30. This champion will receive that damage instead. Chance of block active skills on the A1. AoE either decrease crit damage and decrease attack, or decrease speed and decrease defense based on whether they have higher attack or defense. Ally protection on all allies. She's a great ally protector. Protects herself, but it's like, you can use her in the arena, but nowadays there's so many champions that just ignore more defense. Like my Volcanos can ignore 100% defense. My Rhoda can ignore 100% defense. My Baron can ignore 100% defense. With sets and area bonuses and multiple different sets, like it's not that hard to hit through an Ursuga, basically. And it's like, if you kill the person that she's protecting, she's going to do nothing to you. So, and it really is just arena. Like hypothetically, you could build an old school like ally protect team with her and clan boss, but there's so many better champions. Not to mention Wixwell or Demyth or Maneater or whatever. Next up, a very new champion. And again, maybe someone will find a use for her and prove us wrong, but it's Arythea, who looks like one of those Disney movies, like Jack Frost style vibes. Very weird looking. I've heard her called like a Faction Wars Void Legendary, which is sad. Attacks one enemy, fills a champion's turn meter by 10%, fills a turn meter by an additional 10% if an enemy is under Hex. That's just not a great A1. Will counterattack using a skill when hit by enemies under Hex. Like, for example, there are a lot of champions that'll like increase everyone's turn meter by like 15% on the A1. And she can increase at best her own turn meter by 20%. At best. Maybe 10%. It's not great. AoE double hitter. Damage increases by 10% for each enemy under Hex. Will ignore shield, strengthen, will ignore block damage. Fills the champion's turn meter by 30%. Fills the champion's turn meter by an additional 20% for each enemy killed. It just doesn't hit hard enough from what I've heard. Her ratings are just not that good. It's a cool ability if they have better damage. Increased accuracy, chance of placing Death Brand, which is pretty cool. And then books to 100% placing Hex on all other enemies. This is a good ability. 3-turn cooldown, Hex for 2 turns is good. Doesn't require the hit, it just places. So that's cool. Fills the champion's turn meter by 50%. Fills the champion's turn meter by additional 10% for each debuff placed by a skill. Also places block damage on herself. That's weird. I don't know why, but that is a good ability. But it's like if she's built as a nuker, maybe she can work in Hydra, but you definitely can't use her in arena because she places too many debuffs. She's going to get polymorphed. If the champion kills 1 or more enemies in a battle, we'll ignore 10% of any target's defense. If the champion kills 2 or more enemies, this champion will receive shield for 2 turns at the start of their own turn. If the champion kills 3 or more enemies in a battle, each attack will decrease the target's turn meter by 10%. Can't be resisted. So you can definitely use her in Spider. You can definitely use her in Citranos or in Waves, Dark Fae. I don't think you're going to use her in the arena. And Hex is only really useful in Hydra. I don't think you're going to use her in Chimera or regular clan boss. So it's like maybe arena, maybe Hydra. Probably that's it. Obviously Faction Wars. I'm sure she'll be amazing for hard Faction Wars. That's not really what I look for in my Void Legendaries. All right, next up I have a lot of champions I don't have on the list, but a few that I do. Arnorn the Shining, who looks like a lot of the other dwarves. Attacks one enemy 2 times, increases for every buff on the target. That's weird. You don't ever want to be attacking people with buffs. You want to be attacking people without buffs, and you don't want your enemies to get buffs. So strange. Attacks one enemy 2 times, increases damage increases by every 10% HP this champion has lost. Again, you don't want your champion to have lost a ton of HP. If the target's under 2 or more buffs, we'll ignore 35% target's defense. Again, where is this going? If you go second in the arena, you're going to be struggling. If they have more than 2 buffs, typically that's increased defense, that's strengthen, that's shields. And that's tough. Grants next turn if this kills somebody, that's cool. Attacks on enemies will ignore increased defense, strengthen, and shield, but not stone skin. If this attack kills at least 1 enemy, decreases the turn meter of all enemies by 50%, cannot be resisted. That's cool. You have to kill somebody and it has to hit hard enough. Passive effect, increased champion's attack by 5% for each active buff on the enemy team, and it's not buff placed, because if you like remove a ton of buffs and then he goes, they don't have any. So he would need to have, I mean, if they have 20 active buffs, 4 champions with 5 buffs each, then he can have 100% extra attack. But again, if they have 5 buffs each, they're probably going to tank your hit. Active effect prevents his champion's death, keeps him alive at 1 HP, places stone skin on them, then instantly activates the Wrath of Hrothgleim skill. That's the AoE, now placing it on his cooldown. That is the coolest part of his kit to me. On a 4-turn cooldown, basically almost guaranteeing a hit, almost guaranteeing a nuke, and then going and trying to counterattack. That's the best way to keep him alive. And hypothetically, if you do that, you can go in with this one and have, 1% HP or 1 HP and then get, 90% extra damage based off of this. Again, let me know if I'm wrong. If you guys have him, you have used him infinitely more than I have. But again, based off of his kit, unless his damage is crazy, I don't see it. All right, last two. Believe this is an Ogren Tribes. It is. I have Togron, who was broken for a little while, then they nerfed him, patched him so he worked correctly. A gross looking champion, got a dead goat on his back. He's obviously got his conjoined twin here, and he's got a hand coming out of his neck. Maybe it's supposed to be just attached to his chest, but it looks like it's definitely coming out. Maybe it's not. His neck fat is going down into the hand. Okay. Tax 1 enemy, chance of applying buff spread, taking one random buff from each ally and placing it on all allies. Maybe that's cool. That feels weird to me. It's random that one person would have buffs that not everyone else would have, but maybe if someone's on Relentless or is faster and outrunning their buffs, this could give them more buffs or reapply more buffs. Heals all allies by 20% of the champion's max HP. That's a small heal, but that's okay. Increase speed and continuous heal on all allies, but only continuous heal if their hit HP is below 50% after the initial heal, which is unlikely because you're typically going to build him with a lot of HP as a support champion. So the 20% heal should put everyone else over 50%. So really just okay heal, increase speed in all allies. Increase determinant of all allies by 20% and then places increase accuracy, then removes all debuff from all allies. It's strange because it's like a full cleanse on 3 turns, which is nice, but it's like increase 20 by 20% and then increase accuracy is strange. You get that with like an Arbeis, you get that with like a Lady Kimmy, increase speed, increase accuracy. I don't know if that's like an arena setup thing or what's going on there. Increases champion's max HP by 10% every time they use an active skill, stacks up to 50 but resets per round. That's a pretty cool passive. Again, I just don't know how much that helps you too much. Like obviously it'll help him stay alive. I just don't know if he's doing enough. Increase each ally's max HP by 5% each time they use an active skill, stacks up to 50%. Again, that is good. If you have like a long drawn out arena fight, this could be very big. Maybe a long Hydra fight. I just don't know if he brings enough for a Hydra fight. Will not increase the max HP of bosses. How would you increase the max HP of bosses? I don't understand how that could be. I guess hypothetically, the only circumstance I can think of where this would even be relevant is if you're playing against a Dark Fae, the Dark Fae steals Togron, and then Togron starts taking turns, or the boss Dark Fae starts using abilities. Hypothetically, his passive should kick into play, maybe, and they're saying it won't. That's a weird line to have that in here. But also has ally speed in all battles. Again, it's not like he's bad. I just don't know where you can justify using this champion. I feel like his books make a big difference, and I definitely wouldn't want, like, you have 4 cooldowns here on 4 books, but it's like then you're going into the A1-2 for the buff spread. I don't like buff spread on like a low chance either. It can book up to 50%. I don't know. I'm not seeing it with Togron. If I pulled him today, I would probably leave him in the vault. And last up is a champion I debated putting on the list, but I think he needs to be on here for really 2 reasons. It's Sir Nicholas Santa. He was like the poster of the game for a little while. He was the first ever fusion in the game. He's like a legacy champion. And one of my biggest griefs with him is they just put Lady Noelle in the game a few months ago as his partner, and he stinks. Like his kit is okay, but it's old school and he doesn't hit hard enough. That's my biggest gripe. A1, 50% chance of freeze, can't be resisted. AoE shield on all allies, 30% of the damage inflicted. It's really good for like a spider shield. Not that anyone really needs that much help in Spider, but he can be big there. Unkillable continuous heal on allies for 2 turns on a 4-turn cooldown. There are some unkillable sheaves that use Sir Nicholas. But that's it, right? AoE, and then a buffing, and then a freeze on the A1. It's a very old school kit. He doesn't hit near hard enough. This needs to be buffed. Probably his base HP needs to be buffed, and then something like a cool passive needs to be added to him. It's not that he's a terrible champion. There are probably worse Void Legendaries in him, but especially when you're going to add a fusion in the game that I went for, and that other people went for, I want to use Sir Nicholas. Also, you have Sir Nicholas in the token trader, and you don't want to buff him to make him better. Also, I'm interested in buying a Killian, because doesn't Killian empower somebody? Yeah, Rhonda. Let me know what you guys think. Does Genzen empower somebody? I didn't realize that we had these 2 new champions. I bought those 3. I already have these 3, so I don't need to buy them. I don't use Killian, but I feel like Genzen empowers somebody. It would be a Spirit Shadowkin. I know this is a bit of a tangent, but Kyoku? No, Kyoku would empower herself. I don't know who. Anyways, that is my top 10 worst Void Legendaries. Just a recap. Honorable mention is Supreme Kale. He might have taken one of the slots if you disagree with them. Genro easily. I think Angar easily as well. Fatalis probably, but TBD based on my test. Supreme Athal for sure. Whirlim for sure. Ursuga for sure. Arythea, I think so, unless she hits harder. Arnorn, unless he hits harder. It could be fun in the arena, but really just arena. Togron, I think for sure. Sir Nicholas, 100%. So those are my top 10 worst Void Legendaries. Let me know who I messed up with or who you would have included on the list that I didn't include. So thank you guys for watching. Subscribe to the channel, and I will see you on the next one.